thank you guys. I'm going to start with this. Thank you for coming and spending some time with me in our Depot Biz Chats. Our Depot Biz Chats, we talk about small business pain points and hopefully some accompanying solutions. We're trying to build this community where small business owners, big or small, can share their advice, their knowledge, their experience, because I think there's no better teacher than experience. Right. So without further ado, I want to introduce our guest today in our Depot Biz Chats. This is Tiffany and Leon Chen. And if you like sweets, you may have already heard of them. They have a business called Tiff's Treats Cookie Delivery. And they are, first of all, delicious, by the way. And also, you guys mentioned you guys are the first national cookie delivery company?
We're the first in the nation to do warm cookie delivery. Okay, so
gotcha.
We do warm cookie delivery and it's baked to order. So kind of think of pizza delivery, and we operate it sort of in the same way. So when your order comes in, we don't bake it until your order is in, and then we bake it just for you, and it goes right into a box and right into a car out to your door. Delivery.
That's awesome. So still got that ooey gooiness.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
That's the best part about a cookie, right?
Of course.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay. So what we're talking about today is business growth and fundraising. So last week we actually talked about the other side of that table. We talked about 5 key principles in making smart investments. This week we're going to go on the other side of that table and be like, how do we go about asking for investments? How do we raise money with business expansion on the horizon?
Sure.
You guys have, I don't want to take everything that you guys are going to talk about, but I love bragging about my speakers. They've raised over $50 million in over 3 years?
Over the past 3 years.
Over the past 3 years to continue growing your business. Where do you guys stand now?
We're at 41 locations, 750, 800 employees.
We've got 800 employees.
800 employees now. Wow. And actually, I have no follow-up to that. Let's just get started with this because that's so impressive to me. And you guys started in Austin, correct?
Sure. That's right. We started in Austin.
Awesome. So Austin-based. We're in Austin. We're at our downtown flagship store here in Austin, as we do most of our Depot Biz Chats. And we're going to kick it off. And remember, guys, if you have any questions, we are here to answer those questions in real time. So as we go over our discussion and something pops up that maybe you're dealing with now or you're thinking about for the past few months, this would be the time to ask the questions because we have some great people here to answer them. All right, let's get started. I want to first have you guys introduce yourself. I already kind of did, but I want to introduce, how did Tiff Streets get started? How did this whole thing get going?
Yeah. Well, this whole thing actually started because Tiff over here stood me up on a date, and she felt bad. So you can tell them how that all happened.
Sure. So this was in 1999, and we were sophomores at University of Texas at the time. And so we were on winter break, and we were planning to meet up. We were boyfriend and girlfriend. I should clarify that because people always get confused.
Oh, it wasn't like a first?
It wasn't a first
Okay,
date.
got it.
That thing that makes it worse.
So
maybe.
We were supposed to get together, and then my thing ran long, and I didn't tell him. And so when I got back to my house, my mom said, well, you should apologize. And so I used to bake cookies for fun. And so that was something I thought, okay, well, I'll bake some cookies. And then I drove over to his house and said, sorry, I missed the thing. And then he said, oh, that's fine. And then when I got back to my house, he called me up and he said, we should do this. Like as a business, it'll be just like pizza delivery, but with warm cookies. We can bake and deliver cookies to the students at UT, and we can do it on nights and weekends at the same time as still going to school. And so, I didn't want to do that. I thought that seemed kind of out there to me.
Yeah, she said no right away.
Oh, really?
And we could have left it at that. I just went about my day and I just thought, okay, that was a stupid idea.
Yeah, but then, then it started sounding a little bit more fun. So then we researched some of the basics. How much does it cost to make cookies? How could we package them? And things like this. So we spent the next couple of weeks just looking at that. Mm-hmm. And then we went back to school. So now this was January and the new semester was starting. And we went back to school, and right out of Leon's college apartment, we opened for business.
Right. We bought a cell phone, and Tiff said, look, I'll give this a try as long as we do this Sunday through Thursday, because I'm in college and I want to go out on Fridays and Saturdays.
Fair enough. That's good.
We're students, so I want to go we can only open 8 p.m. to midnight. So that's what we did while we were students. And we started as small as a business could possibly start.
Yeah, so our first investment would have been the $99 it cost to buy that cell phone.
Right.
That I guess we just had. And whatever it cost to buy the first round of ingredients. And so we just started with nothing, and we self-funded. They're for a while.
Right, and it was 5 orders a night would be plenty. It was
Right.
mostly us sitting around watching movies, playing video games, trying to study with our roommates. And we would mix the dough, pre-mix the dough, and then I had roommates, so the kitchen was full. So I would clear out my sock drawer in my bedroom, and that's where we would put the chips, like chocolate chips, M&Ms, whatever. So if we got an order, we'd go into my sock drawer, my old sock drawer, and pull up whatever chips it was and mix it in there. And that's literally how we got started.
Wow. So you really, this is basic.
As small as you can possibly
get.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I remember, we had a red Solo cup, and that's where we put all of the cash that we would take. Originally it was cash only, and then one day that cup broke, and that's when we knew we made it.
We've made it.
Right.
That's right.
So 5 orders became 10, and
Right.
we were targeting sorority houses and dorms at first. So it's a little bit different than how we kind of evolved to be very corporate right now as far as targeting hospitals, law firms, doctors' offices. But it was as small as it can be, and at a certain point we had to leave the apartment and get our own kitchen space. So we did that for a few
We
years.
shared kitchen space for a few years, and then it was time to graduate, so now we were going to go full-time. And so we went full-time, and along the way there, once we were going full-time, we needed some funding for, I can't even remember what we needed a loan for, but I know I remember
Line of
going in
credit.
and we got a line of credit. And interestingly, they said at the time, what exactly is this for? And we said, we don't really know. We just feel like we need the cushion. And then 2 weeks later, our lease got canceled from where we were, and we needed to move into a new space and construct a new space. And we couldn't have done it without the line of credit that we had just gotten. So we would just, kind of felt in advance that we needed some form of money.
Right. And
Right.
then so the first 3 years after we graduated college, we were working nonstop. And we had some employees at the time, but it was mostly her and I for 100, 120 hours per week. The typical founder story, we didn't take any money out, we didn't pay ourselves. And at the end of the first year, we looked back and we realized we lost $15,000. So we did all that work for zero money and actually owed $15,000. But things just kept picking up. And in 2006, we felt like we were on our way. Things were smoothing out, and we were, I guess, making some profits, and then decided to open another location in Dallas. And in 2008, we got our first angel funding.
Okay.
From an investor.
Yeah, right. So the way that happened was, I think when we opened our second location in 2006, we were able to get another bank loan. And so we had that line of credit. We had a couple loans, got a bigger loan for this. And then when 2008 came around, we thought we were going to open another store. And we said, okay, well, we'll just get another one of those loans we've been getting. And then we went up to the bank, and banks were not giving out loans any longer. So that was it. That was it for that. We couldn't even get an equipment loan backed by the equipment that we were buying. So we could get nothing. And so at that time, that's when we realized we needed to start raising funds outside of banking. So in 2008, we started looking, and it was through networking, really, that we found our angel investor.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that was a lot. So we're going to go over this kind of step by step. No, don't apologize. I love this story. I actually I asked them, please tell the story. This might be too big of a broad of a question, but what you guys said there was, you guys made, you were negative 15,000 that 1 year.
Sure.
And then over a few years, you started making a profit. Did you do anything in particular in that span of time to bolster that profit, or maybe was it just you guys knew that your model was going to eventually get there?
Yeah.
I think we knew we were getting there. We kept getting, busier and busier. Some of it was just we needed the more volume. So the model was working. We just needed more consistent sales.
What helped with that, getting more consistent sales in terms of, you said you had a few employees. Did you add more staff over that span of time?
Yeah,
Or-
and the brand just got stronger.
Okay.
People started to know about us, and the students that would go to the University of Texas, they would graduate and then they'd get jobs here, and then they would start ordering for their new jobs. And so it kind of grew.
Yeah, we mostly did
naturally.
word of mouth at that time, and so it just organically grew
Right.
from awareness.
So basically, this is a good example of, and I'm bragging for you guys. It's a good example of a great product kind of speaking for itself, right?
Right. Yeah.
So,
Sure.
Yeah, that's
Thanks.
really cool. Of course. Yeah. No, definitely. That's to me what makes sense is, if it was word of mouth, that means other people wanted to talk about it,
Right.
and that's I think every business's goal is to have advocates everywhere that they're not even paying for, to talk about your business or to brag about it, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's a great story. I do want to call out that a few people have commented saying, I love Tiff's treats.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, definitely let them know. I'm seeing a couple happy faces. I love Tiff's treats. Yeah. So you guys are definitely known. All right. So let's get into a few things that I wanted to talk about. You guys mentioned it started with a cell phone.
Yep.
Was it just that you bought the cell phone for a separate line for your business?
Right, because we wanted a phone number that would call directly into
Right.
the company, and so to get that, we did it on a cell phone.
Okay, I think the problem with my mind was, I'm living in, it's 2018, so I'm like, cell phones, like, oh, so you got the smartphone, but this was in
No,
1999, right?
It barely worked, and it's still my cell phone number to this day.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, so if you
20
find an
years
old
later.
flyer, you've got his personal
That's
number.
really funny.
What's funny about those phones was they dropped on every single call because that's just how cell phones worked in those days.
Yeah.
And so we would be in the middle of taking somebody's order and it would hang up on them, and then we would have to call them back and say, I'm sorry, the call dropped. And people weren't expecting that we would have been talking to them on a cell phone. And we called the company to complain, and they said, this is a cell phone. That's just the way it's going to be.
That's the way it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the way it
gosh.
is. So.
Okay, and then your line says cell phone and $20. That $20
That was just the ingredients.
Your ingredients.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
even
used
better.
our home oven, our apartment oven. We actually had no idea that at the time in Austin it was completely illegal to do a home-based food business. We didn't realize that until months and months and months later. So it's just kind of funny that we just strolled in and tried.
For anyone listening now that's thinking about something like that, what would you recommend in terms of like, oh, I can't do this at home, where should I start?
That's a good question. Well, there are new laws now, so a lot of cities will allow you to do it in your home if you make certain accommodations.
Like
Okay.
food-based businesses.
Food-based businesses.
And there's so much co-working space now.
Yeah.
It's a lot
That's
easier
true. You're
these
right.
days than it used to be
If
back
it's not
then.
food-based, there's nothing wrong with doing it from your home or doing it from wherever. And in fact, even though we had stores and locations, we didn't get an office. We put off getting a real office space
A decade and a
until,
half, 15, yeah.
10 years in at
Yeah.
least.
So how did you guys
We
just
would work from home and work remotely. I mean, everything. So
At
we
the store,
always.
we worked at the store for a long
Well,
time.
yeah. And then once we did it, we engineered everything to be internet based, and so you can be connected without
right,
being.
and I actually want to kind of brag that about you guys have a great website too.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, very well suited for e-commerce, and that's also really important. So you mentioned you guys planned for that.
Yes.
So that's also really important. Is a few biz chats ago, someone talked about building their product and naming their company after their product, and she said that's kind of a mistake. What you really want to do is name it after what you're expecting to have in 5 years, your
Yeah.
line,
Right.
And
Yeah.
I thought that was so great. And to me, it's comparable to what you guys are saying. Is you don't want to just plan for the next 3 years. You're planning for 20, 30,
Yeah.
however long you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's why technology plays such a huge role. We really have evolved into a technology-based company that happens to sell cookies. It's kind of the way we look at it.
Right. Actually, I think that's a great way to look at it. Office Depot provides services like that. We even show an example of what if your mac and cheese food truck just becomes a cash-only establishment. That's just a basic part of the technology that you use, for mobile food,
Right.
if you will. And do you guys call yourself mobile food, or is it more of just
It's
you don't-
delivery.
It's just only
delivery and
delivery.
retail.
Yeah,
retail,
retail
okay.
delivery, yeah.
Gotcha. All right, sweet. So I like to go on tangents. I apologize.
Oh, no problem. Ask away.
But I'd love to ask a few questions right off the bat.
Sure.
So let's say you guys made enough. I'm so bad with the timeline, but let's say it was a 2003 or something. You guys decided to expand to more stores.
2006
2006
was,
was
our
yeah.
second location in Dallas.
Why did you choose that location? And the next question for that is, how do you go about choosing your locations when you can expand?
Yeah, so that one was interesting. At that time, we were servicing basically downtown and central Austin. And so we thought our model really was, we're capturing all these people in a dense area in a downtown setting. And so we've done that in Austin. And so then we thought, well, we can repeat this in Dallas. So Dallas was our hometown, so we were familiar with it. And we thought, okay, so we'll do the exact same thing, but in Dallas. And to a certain extent, that's a good idea, but also it ended up being a mistake because, number one, it's hard to manage your second location not anywhere
Remotely,
near where
right.
you are.
Oh,
So
okay.
Dallas is about 3.5 hours from Austin. And so we weren't there every day. We were having to rely on another team. And then also in terms of like brand and brand awareness and all of that, what we found later was it's better to expand kind of around where you are and use all that synergy of people who already know where you are. So what we should have done would be to do another location in Austin and then maybe even a third location in Austin before moving to another city. But at the time, we were mostly going on demographics. We were trying to repeat the demographics we were serving here.
And it worked to a certain extent.
It worked to a certain extent. I mean, honestly, that's actually our downtown Dallas. It's our #1 store.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
but
it certainly worked.
It took forever.
But it was slow to start and it was difficult to manage, but it was great to, like you said, learning from mistakes. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes and it was a good learning experience.
Right. So just out of curiosity, did one of you have to keep going back up there or something? Or
we went up there a decent amount.
Yeah.
For a while. I remember there was a day, what was it, that I worked, I think I worked 14 days in a row, and a lot of them were one day in Austin, one day in Dallas, one day in Austin, one day in Dallas. They weren't even in the same city.
That's rough.
We were lucky to have a good team that worked. Our first 4 delivery drivers are still with the company today.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 of them got degrees in real world experience and came back. But yeah, they're all in management today. So we had a good team that was up there as well.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
So when did you start scaling with your employees? You guys said you had that growth in 2006. I'm assuming you scaled then when you had people go to the new store.
A little bit only, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even from maybe a year in, we started having to hire just a couple of delivery drivers. So we needed help, all along the way. And then it just, as the sales grew, our staff needs grew with it.
Right.
So we just sort of matched it. And in terms of managing that offsite store, we definitely had to have some real trusted good managers, and we did at that
Gotcha.
time.
Okay. Because I love highlighting in our chats actually in your panel when we did our South by Southwest, the myth of the superhero entrepreneur. It's something I keep bringing up, which is stop trying to do everything on your own, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about a TV show on this, but I'm going to. The Office, I don't know if you guys seen this.
Yeah,
Everyone's seen The Office.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So Michael Scott Paper Company, when he leaves, spoiler alert, when he leaves Dunder Mifflin, he and his 2, Pam and Ryan, they are the salespeople. They are, the people in charge. They deliver the paper, and they think they're doing really well, and they go to their accountant and find out they're actually hemorrhaging money.
Right.
That's what I liked highlighting, because a lot of people don't realize, yes, you could do everything on your own and not have to spend out of pocket for that, but what are you losing while you're doing that?
Sure.
And so that's kind of what I wanted to highlight while we're talking about scaling for employees. And
we definitely did that at first.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we definitely did.
And I remember that when we were really small and we would take phone orders to make ourselves seem bigger, if it was just the 2 of us up there, customer would call and then we would handle the order. Then if they call back for a question, they would say, "Did I just talk to you?" And then I would say, "No, I don't think that was me, but I'd be happy to help you."
Change the voice ever so slightly.
Make it seem like there was more of us up there when it was really just the 2 of us. We did everything.
Yeah, which is funny now that we're in Atlanta, Nashville, and expanding. Now we want to make sure people understand we're still a small company. We used to try to pretend like we were so much bigger, but now we're trying to say we're still a mom and pop shop.
Right.
Just happen to have 41
Well, that's
locations.
the irony, I think, is when you're starting out, you want to have this credibility like a big company.
Yep.
But today I'm finding that the small businesses that are transparent and open, they're the ones who are kind of thriving right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
It's just ironic that you want to have that small business, not facade, but that small business entity as be known as such when you're successful. But when you're getting started, you want to be I'm already super successful.
Right.
That's exactly
it's really
how
weird.
it is.
Yeah, I never really thought about it that way. So we've talked about the locations and stuff, but let's talk about a little bit about this fundraising in particular. There are a lot of avenues to take for fundraising. I want to quickly go over some stuff that I'd like to do some research. Please correct me if I'm wrong, or if you have a different take, because this is a conversation. Nothing is 100% clear, black and white. But that basic forms of investors, from what I've read, there's 3. You have the friends and family, which from what I've read also, if you can't get your friends and family to invest, then you probably can't get anyone else to do it either.
That is a good point. I never actually thought about it like that.
And then you have the angel money or angel investors, and then you have venture capitalists.
Right.
So you guys mentioned that you kind of do a bit of all of it.
Yes.
Yeah, through our history, we've done all those things.
Yeah, in our company today, we have all the whole gamut, and private equity goes kind of with the venture capitalists. But yeah, we have friends and family all the way to big firms like Morgan Stanley Expansion Capital out of San Francisco is one of our investors.
Awesome. So how do you go about? I mean, I don't have too much experience in finding finding investors, but I mean, I guess how would you go about? I mean, it's a big thing to take on. How do you get started on something like that?
Well, for us, we got started through just sort of networking through people that we knew, and we were looking for that initial investment in 2008. And because of that, we found an angel investor. And honestly, that was just, we were super lucky to be in the right place, knowing the right people at the right time, and had a wonderful investor. He's still an investor now, still sits on the board. He's been amazing for us.
Right.
So that was almost more of a stroke of luck than anything else. But we, when we sat down with him, we showed him everything that we had. And what he liked about it, kind of referencing back to what you said earlier, was he said, I'm surprised for a company of your size, you've got so much infrastructure and software behind you and technology and planning that I didn't think you'd have this much behind you. So, coming to the table, presenting something, knowing what you're working on is helpful with that.
And it was helpful that when you start raising funds, you really should go to your biggest fans. And even though he had no idea who we were, his wife was a huge fan. And so we think he put in the money just to impress his wife, which worked for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that's with the angel investor.
Right.
So obviously this huge influx of Kickstarter and GoFundMe, it's hard not to ignore. Do you guys use anything like that?
We haven't done it.
Okay.
We've been more the traditional route first.
Is there a reason for that?
I think all of that kind of started after we got our funding. So, we never had the need. And like Tiff said, we got really lucky. Our angel investor, he put in $1.2 million by himself. And then 1.8 the next year. So
at the time, if that had been available to us at that time, I'm certain we would have looked at it.
Yeah,
We probably would have
absolutely.
tried it for sure. So we went from him, and then the next kind of bigger round that we did was our friends and family. So we did it kind of in reverse. Like usually you would do friends and family first.
Right.
For us, we always wanted to go outside just, I guess, to prove that, we're not relying on friends and family to do this business. We're doing it for real with other people that really believe in it. But then we did open to a friends and family round, and that was a whirlwind.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Because a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool though. That's great because everyone wanted to jump in on this.
It's great as well as long as it's working.
Right.
Well,
Fair enough.
It's been great. It's been great.
So you guys mentioned you were lucky, finding this right angel investor. And I mean, I'm not going to argue that, success, luck has to have something to do with success, obviously.
Sure.
But at the same time, I want to highlight that you guys had this great infrastructure that you could show off. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't do they do some homework. Maybe they do the market research, or maybe they do the product research and say, oh no, this is what's going to work. But you guys kind of planned for your success. And I think that's the big distinction between, saying, oh, I have this great product versus I have this product, I also have a plan for this product.
Well, one thing that made it a little bit easier in our case was that we bootstrapped the whole beginning. So we started in 1999, and we didn't get our first round of funding until 2008.
Right, we were patient.
So we already had it wasn't a proven idea or that I had done market research. It was that I actually have a customer base. We've got fans. We've got X amount coming onto our sales sheet every single year. From at that point, we had 2 locations. We were building for a third, so it was very real.
We were
wasn't
proven.
an idea.
Yeah, we were already proven.
You had something tangible already.
We had something tangible, and then beyond that, we were able to show how we were set up to grow even further from there.
Gotcha. And I use the word tangible because last week we talked about. I mentioned we did an investor talk, and that was like one of his main key principles is invest in something tangible.
Right. Yeah.
And this is a perfect example of that. Something tangible.
Everybody loves cookies.
Worked.
Everybody knows
Everyone
cookies.
Loves cookies. Yeah. I'm telling you. I mean, yeah, everyone loves cookies. What else do you guys provide though? I mean, I've perused your website. It's not just Tiff's Cookies.
So Yeah, we try to keep it as simple as possible. That way we're able to provide, the best service, the best product, the freshest things. So we do mostly focus on cookies. We have 10 flavors of cookies. We also do brownies, so it's sort of similar. And then we've got a couple offshoot things that we do, but they're always focused on warm cookies. So we'll do cookies for your event in small boxes, so as like takeaway favors. We do ice cream sandwiches, so you get warm cookies and you put ice cream in the middle.
Yeah.
And then we have a cool ice cream product that's a blend of ice cream plus cookie chunks and brownie chunks topped with cookie crumbles. It's called a Tiff Blitz. It's really, really good.
Oh my god.
That's about it,
great.
really.
But that's about it. Yeah, we really, and of course milk.
Right.
But we really try to focus in on keeping everything really simple. We don't like to run out of things. We always want to, if you want to order it and it's on our menu, we want you to have it. We want it to be fresh. And we like to keep our operations really simple, and that helps us grow.
So you would say that's a big part of your guys' growth.
Huge.
Is
Yeah.
keeping it simple.
Absolutely. If we hadn't done that, some of the things that we've done that we see others falling into, kind of getting themselves into trouble when they're growing their business, is chasing after all the shiny objects and trying to grow to be something to everybody. We kept it really focused, and that's still to this day one of the things that we talk about when we have leadership meetings, is to keep everything narrow and focused, and that way we can do a really, really, really good job at what we
Right. Do A+ work instead
that's
of
just what we do. Yeah, we
B-
don't have to be
work
concerned about
at a
it.
bunch of things.
do.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So you mentioned the angel investor. That was through networking. Would you guys recommend that LinkedIn is probably one of the better places to do that, or more in-person meetups? And
This was sort of pre-LinkedIn.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and I
what I
wouldn't
keep
say, it was a while back. We're dating ourselves. I would say you should not network that way for LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, I don't think it's a way to meet investors, but I think the best way is find an investor or find other owners of businesses that have gotten investment monies and ask them to introduce you to people. And then from there, you can kind of build a little network of all the investors. They know each other. It's in Austin at least, it's a pretty small world.
That's true.
Yeah, so ours was sort of not networking in a traditional sense, but it was our real estate agent introduced us to our
Accountant.
CPA, and he put somebody on our case to come and do our books. And her husband was partners with this investor. And so that's how it was, through real people that we knew and had real relationships with, not necessarily from going to a party.
right. Okay, gotcha. So I guess the key is putting yourself out there is like the first and foremost thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And
to let it be known
And they
that
have
you're
to know
looking.
that you're looking, because
Yeah.
she
Right.
wouldn't have said, if the person doing our books didn't know that we were looking for this kind of thing, she would have never known to introduce us.
Right. So don't be shy
Yeah.
about
You have
what
to
you're
go
trying
out
to
there.
do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. And then there's really no tips I think that anybody could give in terms of asking money from your friends and family. I think
be nice to your
it's
friends
just
and family.
yeah, it's an individual
Yeah.
case by case type
Right.
of thing.
Right.
Everyone's family's different, so we're going to kind of gloss over that a
Yeah.
little bit.
Sure.
But when getting your investments, where would you ideally like your money coming from? I mean, I'm not saying is there a person specifically you want, but in terms of region, you guys mentioned that, one of the issues you had with your location in Dallas was it's like, oh, maybe we should have done this in Austin, another location in Austin first.
Right.
Because it's closer to you.
Right.
Is that the same thing with money?
Yeah,
as
you
well?
want your investors to understand, especially at first, what the brand is. So it's just so much easier to get funds raised if they know your product and your brand.
If they're
and they
already
trust
your
the
customer,
company.
it's you've already skipped 1,000 times ahead over having to sit down with somebody and explain to them who you
Right.
are on paper. And
Right.
of course, this makes more sense for when you're already established, like we were. But yeah, and then if you're looking to get added value out of somebody who's local, certainly that it's always easier as you can pop in and have a face to face.
Right. And I imagine having connections in your local community only helps with your business. You know what
Right,
I mean?
right.
If they like what you're doing, then they're going to talk about it. to
And that's
others.
exactly how we've grown. Our first investor introduced us to his friends and coworkers who then also invested in us. And we have a firm in Dallas, CIC Partners out of Dallas. They're a private equity firm, and so they came in 3 years ago, and from there we kind of branched out to the Dallas network, right? So we, from there we got introduced to a lot of great partners and operators and investors.
And we're talking a lot about, making these connections. How much work, honestly, is that? I mean, how much time do you have to set aside? I mean, does it help, that you guys are co-founders? Is that a big thing for you guys in terms of your success, is that there are two of you?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't have the skill set to do this by myself. All the things that I'm not good at, she's great at, and she likes to do, and it's vice versa.
Yeah, and in terms of, the networking stuff, that's really in his wheelhouse and not in mine.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a period of time where he was going on to, not clubs, but different organizations.
Oh, yeah. Well, nonprofit boards and
Right,
stuff like that, yeah.
being part of different organizations, that was really
Not like
helping him.
clubbing.
No, yeah, that sounds...
And that was really more his skill set, and that's where we found a lot of these people. And then I would stay back, and do more of just the basic work.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But
so
it's a lot of
divvying that
time.
up,
It is a lot of time. And now we have an entire team. We have an entire finance and accounting department that does
Right.
it, and it's a lot of time for them. Now it's amazing how many people it takes to go out there and really, at our stage, raise funds.
Right. I bet it's amazing knowing that this was something you did by yourself in the beginning, and now you
Yeah.
have a team doing it.
Well, it's
Right.
great because they're always so much better at it than you
Oh,
are.
totally.
Right.
Yeah.
So, every time I've passed something off to a new person that used to be on my plate and then they do it, I'm like, oh man,
Right.
I'm not that good at that.
A lot of owners and CEOs, co-founders, they all have that same epiphany. It's just
Yeah.
like, I spent way less time on something. Like it more than evens out sometimes.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
we
yeah.
know we both suck at a lot of different things.
Right.
And so that's
We're
actually
aware.
helped us. We're well aware of that.
I was actually going to say that's a strength for founders is to know your weaknesses.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think, and
For
to
sure.
and to actually acknowledge them and know you want an expert, you want to hire or find an expert to actually handle that situation.
Yeah.
It's why we do the biz chats because, Office Depot, not to do it, but like Office Depot likes to have services where we offer anything from digital marketing to getting legal consultation to
Yeah.
LLCs, everything like that.
Right.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
actually.
it's actually
Yeah.
kind of why we launched our biz chats is to be part of a community to help come up with these ideas on how to improve or fix these pain points. And yes, we have services that help fix some of those problems, but also we just want to be in the community where people like yourself are sharing from your experience, and everyone kind of just wins from that, right?
For sure.
So I love that you guys brought that up. Is hiring an expert team is sometimes way better than trying to just YouTubing it for 3 hours and
Well,
figuring
it's
it out.
funny
always
because
better.
I was doing something, I can't remember what it was, but I was trying to create this document. I was trying to make it look like something that our law firm had done, and I spent 30 minutes just trying to figure out how to format to have this on this side and this on this side. I'm like, I cannot figure this out. And then I realized I shouldn't be doing this at all. Let me just pass this off to an actual law firm
Right.
to do.
And I'm lucky because I'm also lazy by nature. So if I see someone else that can do something better than me or even a little bit better, I delegate. And so I'm better at delegating than she is. Sometimes we have to pull things off her plate,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that tends to be a founder's mentality is that they want to have not absolute control, but to have a hand in everything because it's your guys' baby,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
totally understandable. I'm also like you, where my laziness sometimes becomes
Yes.
a strength.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you know what? It makes more sense to have somebody else do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it anyway. So,
Yeah. At a certain point, when we weren't fundraising and before we kind of expanded kind of as fast as we have been, all I was doing was delegating. That was literally my only job, is to make sure everyone was doing kind of
Right.
the thing. So
playing to your strengths.
Right.
Right. I think that's hugely important for the success of a business is making sure you know your strengths and your weaknesses, playing to your strengths and letting others handle your weaknesses. Back to investments though. We talked about where money should come from ideally. You want
right.
This is an important question that I saw a lot. How far out in advance are you planning when you ask for funds? So I've read anywhere from if you're asking for something right up front and then you know you're going to ask in 6 months, that you're better off just asking for a year rather than
Oh, yeah.
rather than points at a time.
Yeah.
I heard the recommendation was up to 18 months in advance.
Yeah. I say
Sure.
it's whatever. If you're a founder and you're gonna go raise money, whatever you think it's gonna take, however long you think it's gonna take, I would double it. And that's kind of the rule of thumb. And so a year to 18 months definitely
Yeah.
sounds about right.
So this is more of a cautionary strategy in terms of doubling? Like it's just making sure you have it in case something happens, or
Doubling as far as how much time you have. You don't,
Oh, okay.
you know, what you want to do is you want to raise money before you actually really need the money, because you have no leverage. If the investor knows that you need cash tomorrow to survive, you have no leverage.
Right.
And so you want to go out there and you want to raise money before your cash runs out. And if you're expanding fast, your cash will run out. There's no way to expand as fast as we've been expanding without really spending money on talent and resources.
Yeah, either that or you start making decisions based on your cash
Right.
instead of the right decision for growth or even for just running your business.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, you always want to have that cushion. Of course, we did not do that the first time we did the Angel. We already had a lease signed,
Yeah.
a construction was almost underway, and we had absolutely no way to pay for it. But see, this was our first time ever doing it, so we didn't know, and we
Right,
got
right.
very lucky, and the whole process was pretty quick because it was just us and the one angel investor. But had that been more typical of fundraisers that we've seen since then, we would have had a default on that lease, which would have been very problematic.
And it would have been a really hefty lesson to learn.
Hefty.
Oh, it would have changed everything if we
Yeah.
had defaulted on that lease. And I don't even know if he knows that he gave us the funding.
Well, he does
Thanks,
now.
Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Actually, are there any other investors you want to, we were talking about how you guys are very thankful for all the, the help that you've received. I'd love to give you guys an opportunity to thank some of those
Well,
people.
I mean, it's one of those things like an Oscar speech. Like,
Oh,
you
no.
can't just say like
So do I
one,
need to
because
cue
I'd
some
feel,
music or something?
well, I would feel bad. So I'd rather just thank you
everyone.
all and then not have to like say a couple and forget
Fair
a couple.
enough. Yeah,
So
no, I
we-
definitely,
yeah.
that's a smart move.
We literally have about 80 individual investors.
Because we
and
went through
funds.
that friends and family round, and so
Right.
we were taking in a lot of people for smaller amounts.
Right.
So it ended up being pretty hefty list.
Gotcha.
We're at the stage now that we're taking funding only from firms at this
Right.
point. Yeah.
That makes sense because you now probably have a minimum that you take.
Sure,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and the number is larger, so
Right.
yeah, there's only a few individuals that can kind of support the kind of cash requirements that we need growing.
I see. And we talked. Also, you guys mentioned you're opening a few stores this year.
Yep.
And then I remember I wanted to get this question on camera. You guys set a benchmark essentially for the year. I asked, what is an ultimate goal that you guys have? Do you have we're planning on 100 stores, or are you planning just year by year, or maybe every 2 years or something
A
like that?
little of both.
Yeah,
I think we have a grand vision, and then we chop it down into what we think is the smart amount, both operationally, what can we handle in terms of growth. So we want to do responsible growth so that we're building infrastructure at the same time as growing store count. And then what we also have the finances for, so we model that out as well, and then we kind of chunk it up.
Right. And well, we're very cautious. We've always been told we should be growing faster than we are, but we're cautious to make sure that our growth, like Tiff said, is smart and it's responsible, and we want to keep the brand intact. There's nothing more important to us than the brand, and it can get ruined so quickly if you go out there and you give bad service or your product
Right.
is lacking. And so we want to be very careful. So it'll be about 5 or 6. We'll have 10 this year that we've opened.
10 new ones this year. Next year, somewhere between 13 to 16.
But it is
it'll be growing.
Yes.
It'll be more and more
Right.
each year.
Our
And
goal is
it'll
to-
grow a little faster than that too.
Yeah, our goal is to do more than the year before, I guess.
Gotcha.
Oh,
So
oh,
incrementally.
Yes.
Right.
And-
Which kind of starts building upon itself.
Right,
So it'll start getting a
exactly.
lot
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you mentioned, and I actually wanted to ask this question about, you guys are a great example of patience too. You said you started in 99.
That's probably,
probably
too
me.
much patience. Yeah,
That's
it's more
probably
her.
me holding us
Yeah,
back.
I would
more
have
than
tried
patience.
to open 500 stores by now and probably failed.
Well,
so
that's why
it's
this
a good
works,
balance.
'cause you
Yeah,
guys
It's
have
a
a balance.
It's a good
Yeah,
balance.
that's great.
Because I would probably have 3 stores.
That's
But
two, probably.
getting your first investor after 7 years, or-
Yeah.
I'm bad at math. I'm a writer.
Yeah, that's exactly 7 years.
That's patience too.
Right.
But it worked out because you guys followed a specific plan and you guys worked together. I think that's something I really wanted to highlight. In terms of bluntly saying asking for money,
Right.
what are there any pieces of advice that you could give in that respect? How do you present yourself when you are asking for a fund for some funds?
I think you just have to make sure that you're ready. You have to have you have to be very professional in what you have prepared.
Yeah,
Your financials and
know what
and the
you
plan.
have to offer.
Yeah.
I mean, remember, you're not asking for a handout. You know,
Right.
you're literally giving them a piece of your company.
Yeah,
for
this
that
is an
money.
opportunity for them too.
Right.
You know, the investors. So you're not asking for
So
money.
it's-
You're
yeah.
asking, hey, for a partner. And we've been lucky that we've
Yeah.
had wonderful partners.
And they wouldn't be sitting there if they weren't already interested. So
Mm-hmm.
take their interest and then prove to them that you've got something that's going to ultimately make them money in the end. And that's what they're there for.
That's the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, it's not a
What's their
charity,
return?
so
Yeah.
there's nothing to feel awkward about asking for money. It's just a business deal.
Right.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
You got to go into
And
it.
a lot of people are awkward about asking for money.
Sure.
I'm awkward asking for money from my girlfriend. Like I don't like asking for money. But like as a great way to put it is that you're not really asking for help. You're asking.
you're not.
You're giving them an opportunity to make money.
You are.
Sure.
And,
And-
and
that's
if you
how you
don't
should look
believe
at it,
that,
right,
then
you have
they're
to-
not going to believe that
Exactly.
either.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And you have to know that one of the things about bringing on investors is they can be of help. And we've had great investors that have helped us work through some strategy and more. You know? So investors can be of help as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's see how long we've been talking a while, which is always a great thing. I mean, let me see if we missed any questions real quick, guys. I definitely see a lot of people who are just like Tiff's treats. I think those
Good.
are most of the comments. It's not questions,
take
just
it.
we like
Yeah.
Tiff's treats.
No problem.
But I want to thank you guys for your time. Is there anything else you guys want to add in terms of business growth? Something that somebody maybe with a cell phone and $20 has right now in their pocket, like, and they have some idea. Any words of advice?
I would say just do it. Don't overthink it. Sometimes
Yeah.
overthinking is going to keep you from starting in the first place. You know, have some kind of a plan, but you can work that plan as you're open, and that can change as you go. You know, don't spend 6 months just sitting there and thinking about how you're going to do it before you ever get started.
Done
Just
is
start.
better than perfect.
Yeah,
Done
just
is
start.
better than perfect.
Start and be ready to work hard.
Right. Yeah. And what she said, this day and age, I really think working hard is overlooked for some reason. People think that you have to have the perfect app or the perfect this or that. Really, working hard is you just got to be prepared to work harder than you've ever worked for anything, without expecting any rewards in the interim. It's a long-term play. Kind of
Right.
think long-term.
And I love to say that's why it's so important to pick something that you're passionate about, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you're not passionate about it and you're not getting a return,
Right.
Yeah.
what's keeping you going?
Yeah.
Right.
So
And I would say staying focused too. That's, again, I mentioned that earlier, is try not to be everything to everyone. And just be very careful to focus on your niche and your niche only.
awesome.
Yeah.
So how are people going to get how are they going to get delicious cookies delivered to you guys before we sign out? I want you guys to share that real quick.
CookieDelivery.com.
That's right.
If you're in Texas, Nashville, and Atlanta, Texas, we're in Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, all the major
College
cities.
Station, Waco.
Yeah.
Or we've got an app too, so you can download the Tiff's Treats app, which is really cool. It's really fun, easy ordering and tracking your order like Uber.
Awesome. And I want to thank you guys again so much for your time.
Thanks for having us.
I just
Yeah.
learned a ton. I hope our audience learned a ton. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
All I
us.
can say is thank
Yeah.
you over and over again.
Yeah.
Go check out cookiedelivery.com. What a great domain name. Are you kidding me? How did you guys get that?
1999.
There it is. There's that date again. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Well, thank you so much. If anyone does ask questions, I'm going to tag them so they can actually help you with your questions in terms of investments and growing your business. So if you're not catching this live, don't worry. You can always comment. We'll catch you up. All of our biz chats are located on our YouTube channel at Office Depot, as well as our Workonomy group, which is within our Office Depot Facebook page. That's where we actually get the ideas of where or what questions to ask. It's fine. It's where we get our speakers almost. Oh, sorry. It's where we get ideas to bring to our speakers. And so that's why we always try and bring something relevant to you guys, especially if you're part of the group and, starting your business or thinking about it. Don't think too long, according to them.
Don't think.
But certainly come on by. We're going to have our next Depot Biz Chats next month. You can find them at cookiedelivery.com. I know that they're on Facebook, they are on Twitter, they are on LinkedIn,
Instagram.
So they have all their social media platforms up to date, which is also really important. So yes, thank you again for visiting us at Depot Biz Chats. Tiff's Treats here, and thank you guys again. And
Thank you.
hopefully it doesn't rain so we can all stay dry today.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye guys.
Bye.